You know, if you've ever actually sat down and tried reading prophetic literature, it kind of feels like trying to solve a 3D puzzle in the dark, right? Well, today, we are unpacking a real game changer. We're diving into this explainer on the chronology of the 7-year tribulation. We're going to explore exactly how this source material takes some seriously layered, complex concepts and just transforms them into a structured, step-by-step guide. Let's get right into it. So, why was this guide even created in the first place? Honestly, it started with you, the readers. People diving into the prophetic books of Daniel and Revelation were just hitting a massive wall. I mean, you see the vivid imagery, the sweeping timelines, the beasts, the dragons, and your natural response is usually a slightly panicked, what exactly is happening here? And that's exactly what sparked this step-by-step chronology. It was born directly out of those relentless, really thoughtful questions.
It is literally a night and day transformation. Just think about the before, this massive flood of complicated questions, and that very natural confusion of trying to piece together biblical prophecies all by yourself. And the after? A totally direct, clarifying breakdown. It's like taking all those scattered puzzle pieces of prophecy and finally snapping them into a clear, linear picture that actually makes total sense.
All right, moving right along into Section 1, answering your prophecy questions. The source material actually explicitly states that this is based on viewer questions about Daniel and Revelation. So this wasn't just some dry academic exercise drawn up in a vacuum somewhere. No way. It's a direct response to a very real demand for clarity. You guys asked for it, and the result is completely driven by what the learner actually needs to understand. Okay, on to Section 2. Breaking down complex eschatology. Now, to really appreciate this breakdown, we got to define our terms first. The source anchors this entire guide in eschatology. Now, I know it's a big, kind of intimidating word, but in this context, it literally just means the study of end times prophecy. That's the whole shebang. The guide's entire purpose is to prove that studying this stuff doesn't have to be overwhelming. It takes the abstract and honestly makes it highly accessible for anyone willing to focus. So let's look at the actual methodology here. Step 1, address those complex viewer questions head on. Step 2, provide a direct, clarifying breakdown of that eschatology we just talked about. And Step 3, detail the actual chronology of the 7-year tribulation. It's a very calculated, highly structured approach, and is designed specifically for optimal learning and retention. Which brings us to Section 3, the core focus, end times and the Antichrist. This lays out the exact topics covered by the guide. We've got the chronology of the 7-year tribulation, those foundational insights from Daniel and Revelation, and, of course, that overarching clarity on eschatology. But more specifically, it puts a giant magnifying glass on two highly requested elements, the end times and the Antichrist. It essentially isolates the absolutely most challenging elements of prophetic literature and just totally clarifies them. Ultimately, what we have here is a definitive step-by-step guide to end times prophecy. It isn't just some vague, high-level overview. It takes the massive, potentially overwhelming scale of the 7-year tribulation and makes it logically approachable step-by-step, completely removing those frustrating barriers to understanding. So that leaves us with one really critical question. We've seen how viewer confusion actually built the foundation of this guide, right? We've seen how eschatology is broken down, and we've seen the targeted focus on the Antichrist and the end times. The logical structure is built, the timeline is organized. So as you look at the massive scope of these ancient prophecies, are you ready to leave the confusion behind and step into the clarifying breakdown of the 7-year tribulation?